Right. Hello, and welcome to a conversation about loving our lots, where we are going to hear from 4 experts who are in the know about what benefits can be brought to neighborhoods by individuals who are passionate about community or by empowered neighborhood leadership. While everyone joins up to catch this live event, we're going to take a few moments just to recognize the heavy weight that certain stories from Kansas City's history have had on people who still live in Kansas City neighborhoods. And then while we're still waiting for the last people to find their way here, we're going to highlight the good that's happening right here in Kansas City. Of course, in the past few weeks, we've all had good reason to remember the injustices that had been put into place by Kansas City's historic developers that were misguided in their cringeworthy assumptions about where people should and should not live. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the link in the description below for a synopsis. In the years since those misguided beliefs caused some unnatural concentrations of monetary wealth and poverty and race and all sorts of other crazy things, many large-scale efforts have been rolled out by various philanthropic or academic or governmental institutions that were just attempting to get local residents involved in the betterment of Kansas City neighborhoods. But a modern kind of example of this kind of setup would be like UMKC, where the backing of the Department of Architecture, Urban Planning, and Design helps founding director Dina Newman to run the Center for Neighborhoods. That is a truly amazing hub where people who grew up in Kansas City neighborhoods can figure out for themselves how they want to better serve their own neighborhood. Dina's work basically makes training and resources available to neighborhood leaders, helping them to be better equipped to organize community effort. Now, I'm of the opinion that Dina's efforts are some of the Kansas City area's best available efforts for community leadership development presented by an institution-beholden organization. There is a smaller side to community leadership, and that is what we are here to celebrate today. I'm Joy Ellsworth. I'm co-founder of Clement Waters Retreat, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to our 4 panelists today. Right now, we are still waiting on one of our panelists, but I'm going to introduce everybody anyway. Staroyce Nealy, Carl Stafford, Dre Taylor, and Cash Wilson is going to be joining us soon. All of our panelists have been instrumental in making sure that vacant lots are used for good in their neighborhoods with amazing results. They're here to share their stories about the ways that their private efforts and collective work with others have brought people some quite pleasant benefits as a result of their shared casual association. So this is interesting. After nearly 2 years of observing local sprung community development efforts and 6 months of an investigative partnership with the Heartland Conservation Alliance, our organization, Clement Waters, has come away with a different opinion about small efforts. We can now bear witness to the fact that a lot of effective community development is taking place underneath the polished surface of Kansas City's traditional philanthropic support network, from kitchen table lot planning meetings to social media fueled trash cleanups to vast networks of savvy urban farmers. While this event is going to focus on the role that cleaning and care of and green renovation of abused vacant lots, the role that can have on a community, I want to take a moment to recognize the efforts that all of Kansas City's local champions for good health and safety have brought to their neighborhoods and other communities of support like churches. Thank you so much. You are our champions, all of you. Please keep using that power to build the amazing things that are going on in your neighborhood. That power is only within you, and I'm so glad you bring that to the world. I swear I'm here to listen, so I'm going to shut up for a second and kick off the conversation with our first panelist, Star Nealy. Star is one of the founders of Global One Urban Farming. Her organization produces thousands of pounds of organic plants and vegetables and then distributes those vegetables to seniors and veterans and low-income families in the Kansas City metro and the surrounding communities to help raise health levels. She started out with a small backyard garden, and now she has grown to several garden locations. Currently, she manages a 1-acre garden site with a greenhouse that's on site, and she's able to teach others the germination process there. So Star, I'm going to bring you up here. Yay, Star! Let's see here. Can I do that? Let's see here. Oh, maybe. No. How do I do that? Let's see. I'm going to make, come on, Star. Okay, Star, why don't you just start talking to us if you don't mind? I'm trying to figure out how to make yours the big, oh, I know how. Okay.
There I am. That works. So my name is Star Nealy, of course. I'm with Global One Urban Farming, as Joyce said. And we started in the backyard, as she said. And we kind of just ran out of space in our backyard. So what we did was we asked our neighbor if we could spill over into her yard, and I was quite surprised how easily it was to fill up that area. We put in lots of tomatoes. I love tomatoes, so we've got that area all filled up with tomatoes and a few other vegetables as well. And once that space was filled, we asked our local church if we could use that area that she had available to put more vegetables in the ground. And we were able to do that so we could provide some food to the pantry. We spilled over to the church. And once we got the church all filled up as much as we could, we started realizing that we could use some help with volunteers and that type of thing. So we're still working on getting volunteers to come out and assist us. We've also was given the opportunity to move into a greenhouse inside of African Centered College Preparatory Academy. And so we worked in there trying to help teach the children how to grow their own food. We did that in 2013 up until 2018. And we just started over at Kaufman School in 2018. And from there, we have actually, like she said, purchased our own acre. We just currently put up 8 raised beds. We have metal culverts going around the property, and we just started putting up our fence line, and we've got a greenhouse going. So we are steadily growing to become a spot where everybody can come and learn how to grow their own food.
That is awesome, Star. I loved going to the lots that you've already like transformed and made into productive, clean, just beautiful places. And I remember when I first met you in person, you told me that when you were just starting out that you thought you really didn't know anything about growing foods. Did you surprise yourself when everything that you gave a chance to live just started practically growing itself?
I was totally surprised, and I'm still surprising myself. So what I do, I just keep going out there and being consistent, completing tasks, asking for help, and we just keep planting and staying consistent. And that's what's bringing us the wealth that we or the pump to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
So I totally surprise myself every day, even up until today. I'm still doing things that keeps me surprised. So
awesome. I've seen some pretty creative ways in your garden beds of like getting the raised beds into growing areas. Like that one growing bed with the huge pipes, like the huge like culvert or whatever. How did you make the connection for that to happen?
So we have one of our volunteers that came out, and he actually helped us with a small greenhouse that we have here in our backyard at home. Mm-hmm. And so one day he just said, hey, I've got a metal company wants to donate some culverts. I said, what's that? I don't even know what that is. He's like, well, what I'll do is I'll get these big, huge culverts. There's something that drains water or that type of thing. And he said he'll cut them down to the size that I wanted him to cut them down to. He asked me what size I wanted, how tall I wanted them, and he cut them on a slope. So he took it upon himself to take them home, cut them in half, and shape them and farm them and actually brought them to me so that we could fill them with soil and grow vegetables in them. And then I'm going to use a couple of them to put yard signs in as well, but we'll still be growing in all of the metal coverts.
That's awesome. I remember him delivering that and like on the huge truck and everything. I was like, whoa, it's major construction. What one thing would you say to somebody who wanted to make a food garden growing spot or like a basically for their neighborhood?
I would say just do it. I would pick out a spot or purchase the land if you can. Pick out the spot, send a plow out there to plow it so many feet deep. I think about 3 feet deep. And once you get it plowed, till it up to make that dirt fine and throw some seeds out there. Start with something small like mustard seeds or green seeds and that type of thing, and watch it grow and redo it again every year.
All right. Okay, we're gonna bring hopefully Carl Stafford back in here. Let me see where he went. Let's see if he can click that link again. That would be awesome. Let's see. He is next, and I don't see where he is. You're in the room, all right. Give me a second. Let's get everybody up here.
Okay.
Let's see.
There we go.
Hey, Cash. How you doing? There you are. Oh, and Carl is right there. How's it going, Cash?
I'm doing great. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Great. We're about to bring Carl up. I'm new to this thing, and there he is. Hey, all right. Give me 1 second. All right, I gotta introduce you, Carl. Okay, so Carl, I want to help the audience get to know a man who has been making history in his own neighborhood. I know you as the vice president of Climate Waters Retreat, but also you are the president of your neighborhood association in Gregory Ridge neighborhood, and you are the founder and president of an organization called My Region Wins. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your organization?
Joy, of course. Thank you, Joy, and thanks for the whole panel. I'm an artist, so graduated from Kansas City Art Institute, and My Region Wins, we basically help people with their ideas and their dreams and their goals. The mission statement behind My Region Wins is to transcend everyday challenges by using the arts to nurture creative and undeveloped ideas that shape society. So when I see vacant lots, I see a canvas, and that's an opportunity to create. So the vacant lot that I have in 72nd Indiana is, like I said, it's like an Etch-a-Sketch pad. It's been a place to gather, to assemble, take down, go away, but to maintain. And the first thing as an artist, my canvas has to be clean. So just going into a once blighted area with no big machines or anything, but just yourself, and starting to pick up trash and cut down trees, the people in that neighborhood are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And so they're not seeing the vision. And then it becomes almost like a performance piece, because now I have people engaged and wondering what I'm about to do. Because again, I'm not coming with any big equipment yet. And this was in 2016. I guess to backtrack, I started My Region Wins in 2014. And I would help people to design flyers, logos, from comedy, spoken word, music videos, but I was mainly working out of a basement or a library. And folks was like, man, you need to have an office. I didn't want an office. And as a nonprofit organization, I didn't understand why would I rent something when I found out as a owner of something, you didn't have to pay taxes. So I was like, okay, let me find a vacant lot. And I stumbled onto the whole land bank thing. And I found out that this, not only is this a vacant lot, but this vacant lot is in a business zone that happens to be blighted. It's a business zone. There's 11 properties in this business zone, and there's only one business. Again, going back to what Joy was talking about at the beginning of the conversation of white flight, why is this business zone blighted? And so the artist in me was like, okay, let's beautify this business zone. At the very least, I'm going to keep this area clean, manicured, and then I'm gonna host small events. I have second Sundays. And so every second Sunday of the month, we come gather and just exist. Crazy thing about it is there was no permits needed, nothing was needed from the city because it was on a Sunday and it was a small event, well, small hours. And so when I see vacant lots, I see opportunities to, like what Star said, own the property first. First, I'm like, hold on, land bank, housing authority. Why do y'all have over 700 vacant properties on the west side of District 5? That's crazy. And so it's like, okay, so how can my region wins obtain these properties, especially the ones in business zones, to beautify, to attract business to come in these business zone areas? So
nice.
I'm basically using these vacant lots as an artist, and they're my Trojan horse.
Awesome.
For change. So everything.
So you have such a skill for seeing more than a place, in like more than just that place. So for the potential, you see that potential before anybody ever does anything to it. Where do you think you first developed that insight?
We had to go to get credit for it. Again, as a Black man, I would write short stories, but nobody knew what to do with them, and they'll give me a basketball. And so when I went to art school, and the professors start telling me, "You a visionary, you have vision, you have thoughts," they started validating these thoughts, and I was like, "Really? Well, this world out here ain't telling me that." And they're not understanding you.
You think so? Like people saw you on the surface and would give you a scholarship for basketball, but wouldn't see you as a creator.
Correct. Oh. As a thinker. Thinker. You know what I'm saying? I wrote a high school play, and it was like, go play basketball. I was like, tell me how many people that wrote a high school play. It was like, I'll wait.
Oh my gosh. Well, you've been advocating for years about the beauty within the west side of District 5, which is the area where you grew up. That's what some people would call Southeast Kansas City within the 435 loop, or some people would call basically the neighborhoods that are south of Swope Park. What would you wish that like everybody in Kansas City knew about that area?
That is, well, see, what they knew is the attractions that was here, and this is what I'm trying to do. I want this place to once again to attract people. 75th and Prospect used to be an amusement park. Like, we used to have an amusement park with a drive-in theater. We used to have another drive-in theater. We used to have a bowling alley. We used to have a skate rink. I mean, right up the street, have an arcade. And so it's just like we had attractions, and it's like, yeah, we no longer have attractions. All we have is Swope Park, and Swope Park is not ours, And so it's just like, yeah, and the same thing happens to District 3. It's like, where are the attractions other than the things that they implemented, And then when you go to other districts, they're all over, they're different. They're marketing that attraction. So it's like, yeah, I want the world to come to the west side of District 5. Like, I want to have that tourism, and I want to be the reason for that. Just like J.C. Nichols. I mean, granted, yes, bad man, bad. But it's like, wow, he had enough people believe in his vision to back a 100-year plan. 1945, he created a 100-year plan and have enough people in that vision, believing in that vision to carry that out. As an artist, that's inspiring. So if I can go ahead and get that in and not be negative, but be all inclusive, that's the whole point of this. And it's all through vacant lots, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's, so please, grab a vacant lot and start tending to it. Or my region wins well.
Another thing you've always been passionate about, as far when I've known you, is compensated volunteerism. Why do you feel like people need to be paid to volunteer?
Well, I feel like zero has a value with an infinity number of vacancies. So what's the opposite of a criminal? A citizen is not the opposite of a criminal. A citizen is zero. A criminal is somebody that does something negative to the innocent. If I don't do anything negative, I'm just a citizen. But now if I go over here and start doing good Samaritan stuff, volunteering, I should be acknowledged for that, because that becomes another type of deterrent for me being a criminal. It moves me away from zero. And we put a point system for kids, for children, for the youth at an arcade to get tickets. The next time we incorporate that point system in society is at a casino or with credit cards. So why can't a good Samaritan have a point system? You got your CPR certification. Why can't that be worth a point?
Awesome.
Simple things like that. You know, you went and volunteered here for 4 hours. Why can't another larger entity acknowledge that? And so it becomes, it moves people away from zero, and it gives people an opportunity, everybody an opportunity to go ahead and give and do and show their capability. Because to be honest with you, the people that are volunteering are privileged. I ain't got the privilege really to volunteer. Somebody got to sacrifice something to volunteer. You know, it's like, oh no, you go to a volunteer banquet and see who's at the volunteer banquet, who done logged 100 hours this year or 200 hours this year. So yeah, you'll see why. You'll see why. You mean to tell me I can go volunteer and have a meal? Yeah, compensate me.
Speaking of people who have taken advantage of the willingness of people to come together, and I mean, not taking advantage in a bad way, but like harnessed that into something that has become a community carrying effort, a community like ushering effort. Dre, I'm going to talk about you here for a second. I believe Dre Taylor is now becoming like an urban farming legend, because you have your own TED Talk. I'm going to hold on a second. Got to get Dre up here on the stream here. All right. We'll see you in a second, Carl. Dre, would you like to tell us about your organization?
Yes, thanks for having me. Good evening now. My name is Dre Taylor. I'm the founder of Nile Valley Aquaponics, and also Kansas City Urban Farm Co-op. And I have a mentoring program called Males to Men, mentoring youth. Nile Valley, where I pretty much got started urban farming maybe about 10 years ago. Met a guy named Will Allen. He's one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people. He grew like 1 million pounds of acres of land with aquaponics. So he came to Kansas City, and I had a chance to meet him, my uncle, my grandfather, and after meeting, we all started our own little aquaponics system at home in our basement. And that's pretty much how I got started there. In 2013, when I started my mentoring program, Males to Men, you know, I wanted to teach the boys how to be self-sufficient, give back to the community. And I said, what better way than aquaponics? And so we built this small little aquaponics system at which now I believe is Bishop Hogan. It used to be Mary Kelly Center before then. It was Grayson Elementary. I used to attend right down the street from where I used to live at. And we built a small little aquaponics system in the basement there. And from there, I used to bring in potential funders to see how the waste from the fish supply nutrients for the plants to grow. And so from there, that birthed pretty much Nile Valley Aquaponics, so it's like Wabash, which is about 3/4 of an acre, where we have a greenhouse 30 by 150 and outside grow bed and ghosts out there now that keep getting me in trouble. But that pretty much will birth Nile Valley Aquaponics.
All right. Wonderful. I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to mute myself because I think I'm getting in the way of the sound. But do you think that the block south of 29th on Wabash, or even the surrounding neighborhoods, have benefited from you establishing your greenhouses and grounds that grow food?
Yeah, I mean, it benefited a lot, you know, from crime prevention, where, you know, the lady across the street, one of my neighbors, have seen, you know, prostitution, drug use, even seeing somebody being shot on the property that we're currently at now, to being, you know, a place where now kids come and visit, and people come from all over the country and, you know, different countries around to visit. So it's been an eye-opening venture for a lot of people to see people look like them do something in the neighborhood, and more jobs and provide access to food in the community.
I said nice, but I was muted. If someone wanted to start like a similar operation in their own neighborhood, maybe, I mean, not even maybe with the 6-foot deep like tilapia trenches, but like maybe with their own twist of urban agriculture, what would you anticipate that their biggest hurdle would be, just from your experience?
I mean, experience is the best way to learn. YouTube and everything is all kind of YouTube channel for whatever you want to do. That's a good way to learn and get information quick about how to do things. Not one system is built the same, so what works for me might not work for you. They can look exactly alike, and so just getting out there and doing it is the best experience and the best teacher to see what works and what doesn't work for you. But the start is the hardest part. Putting the time and energy and effort into what you're trying to accomplish and do. And so nothing is easy. So it's easy to say I want to do something, but when it's 90 degrees outside, you have to plant out there and water. That comes a different story year after year. So starting is probably the biggest hurdle that holds a lot of people back from doing it.
So, who have you noticed tends to be the best partners of East Kansas City urban agriculture, in like city government or state government, or like even the university extension or somewhere, so that when someone starts out, like they'll have help?
Starting off, I mean, it's not that much help. I mean, the stitchings can help you to a bit. I would probably lean on, one of the leaders in Kansas City, Cultivate KC. They have a lot of resources and they provide a lot of information for people who want to get started. And so that was one of the groups that I leaned on when I first got started, was Cultivate KC, Catherine over there, and provided me with a lot of information and knowledge about certain things on how to maneuver through the city. And so other than that, it's kind of hard for if you're doing vacant lots or something like that to gain some kind of traction with the city or even a statewide, depending on how your business is structured from a nonprofit or for-profit. So those are some issues that you would have to look at to see which direction you need to move
to. All right. I am thinking we are moving down to we're going to hear from Cass. He's a social justice and criminal justice subject matter expert who, growing up, had the kind of privilege, a sneak peek of how a lot revitalization project could transform a neighborhood. It was her neighborhood in East Kansas City. Cash is currently the outreach liaison with UMKC's Center for Neighborhoods. Cash was formerly a community healthcare worker with Aim for Peace of the Kansas City, Missouri Health Department. Cash completed her degree in criminal justice with an internship at the Ad Hoc Group Against Crime. Cash, if you're all set up with your sound and everything, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm on my way out of town, but I was able to get in the car and set it up.
We truly appreciate you being able to talk with us today. When you were growing up, just kind of like seeing the play areas and the gardens that are being put into the previously vacant lots, did you know, even as you were young, did you know that work was going to be good for your community?
Not as much, but when you think about it, after cleaning those lots up and working hand in hand with other people in the community, you saw people who would litter, and then they took value, like, no, the kids just clean that up, pick that up, man, or the minister, that's the minister's lot, don't throw that down. They have respect for that later on. So they did their own type of community policing, the correct model of community policing. Because now when we see these vigilantes and stuff, calling it community policing, that's not what it is, based off Philadelphia's project in a ghetto area, you call it, when they started a community policing environment to take back their community, and they revitalized their community, their business areas, and vacant lots in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, I'm so sorry. And they started their own community policing program out there, and other neighborhoods and communities of this province, they started community policing, like aim for peace, but not that aim for peace doesn't like using the word community policing. But that's it. It's holding your neighborhood and your city accountable. And then education. Education's a lot about it because you don't know like I said, you don't know at first what you're doing, but afterwards you know that it helps with the rodents and the insects, and it brings up your property value, and it brings others in that want to help more in your community.
Nice. As you got older and you learned about Kansas City's historic, the historic imbalance of socio-political power, what are some of the obvious ways that you believe history has played out in neighborhoods' efforts to reclaim vacant lots?
Education's been a real thing, a big thing now. The East Side has had a disadvantage of being diseducated on their value. Kansas City has a lot of value in the neighborhoods. Neighborhoods have the opportunity and control over a lot of things that happen in the neighborhood. If you don't want anything in your neighborhood, you have the value to say, I don't want that store in my neighborhood. If you don't want a property owner in your neighborhood, you have the value to say, and control to say, I no longer want that property owner in my neighborhood. So when you had white light and you had redlining, those people with that education and knowledge, they moved out, and then they didn't educate the African Americans and the Mexican Americans who moved into those communities. So they were at a disadvantage when it came to that. And then another problem when you have these houses and these vacant lots that are filled with trash, and they now have this lead paint, and they didn't know that they had grants or the city had programs to come remove this, and then there's still lead and asbestos in the ground. That is the city's problem. You can't move it if it's on city property. People don't have the advantage of that education. So you have the argument in criminology, is it nature versus nurture? But when it comes to vacant lots, it comes to nature, and it riddens your neighborhood with all these chemicals and stuff that it gives you. Because when you look at criminal behavior as a disease, because it floods our neighborhood with diseases of crime, hate, violence, and fix. All it needs is mediation, you need talk, you need education, and it can be fixed and rectified. But you need the education first and foremost.
Nice. Do you have a vision for the 3rd District that you'd like to share?
First and foremost, I would like the 3rd District to come together. The 3rd District is a very large district. It's a large district, but there's a lot of separation in the 3rd District. I don't think that can be denied. And clearly, right now, we're doing the city cleanups with the help of the city, Robert Wood, UMKC, Center of Neighborhoods, and all the districts within the city. But with the 3rd District, we're separating the 3rd District. There's going to be UNI, then there's going to be the historical East Side. So there comes that separation. So you have Pink, and then you have UNI, and then you even have neighborhood associations that are separated. Oak Park separated in 3 neighborhood associations. You have Heart of America and Dunbar. same neighborhood associations, but they're separated into two now. So there's problems within the dirt district where we need to come back together. There's a disparity when it comes to funds, just like we have seen when it comes to funds and how the city handles police funding. There's a problem with funding headed distributed into the third district. How much money goes to 18th and Vine, then how much money actually goes into the neighborhoods of the third district. And I don't think the people have the voice, and there's a lack of communication, and people not knowing about land ownership and be able to neighborhoods and neighbors and community going in and getting that land and knowing how much owning land is worth, just the land, and then knowing off that land, passing down generation wealth and what the use of the land can be used for. And so I would like to see their district come together.
Thank you. I'd like to hear really what everyone thinks. I'm going to hold on a second. I'm going to bring everybody up. Give me a second. And there we go. On there. I'd like to hear what everyone thinks about something that I noticed in my work over the past 8 months or so. My organization is helping to connect neighborhoods to resources that help them plan better uses of vacant lots. In neighborhood discussions, some neighbors want to wait and see if our help's actually, helpful, but other neighbors just jump right in. When I asked a couple of wait and see neighbors about why they feel the need to hold off on action, they shared that usually if an improvement initiative is huge, there's always some large company, foundation, or politician who benefits from it. But the people in the neighborhood are left out of any opportunities for direct gain. But after I explained that I'm just doing the consulting because I think more people need to have the benefits of nature being around their homes, including like urban agriculture or nature spaces, trails, nice places to sit and relax. Then those wait and see neighbors just they really warm up. So there seems to be like still a recent history of what seems to people like extortion of the people, where outside groups will take advantage of neighborhood spaces. And some neighborhoods even have told stories of extortion done by profit-minded neighbors, even within their communities, that will partner with business entities to perform economic development. So naturally, there's a lot of trust, but there's still a need for improvement of vacant neighborhood spaces. So my first question is, what could be done or what should be done about that? First question is, could anybody hear what I just said?
You have an echo, Julie.
It's echoing too much?
No, you didn't say too much. It's just kind of an echo. So was your question what to do with the neighbors who are waiting to see the wait and see neighbors?
Well, no, my question really is about what do we do about outside entities tending to come in and extort or take advantage of vacant spaces in the neighborhood, but not being of the neighborhood, so that they get their gain of whatever economic development happens,
Okay.
but people in the neighborhood don't.
Right.
And let's go ahead and mute until we got something to say about this, if that's okay.
Yeah, first you have to buy the lots. I mean, we live by the lots, and so we need to buy the lots, and so block those entities from coming in. And so once you buy the lots and you get them, then you can block them out. And so if they're able to get them, then you'll see that lot go from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. Or $10,000 to $15,000 once for the lot. You can look at what's being done over there on the other side of 71. I'm trying to think of the neighborhood over there. Golly, I can't even think of the neighborhood that's, starts at $300,000, on the other side of 71, on the west side of 71.
Is that like
You know,
Hyde Park?
not Hyde Park, Beacon Hill.
Beacon Hill.
You look at Beacon Hill and you see those lots over there going for like $50,000. It's ridiculous, you know. And so if we're able to hold on to the lot, you know, and buy them up, you know, before you know they purchase everything, then that's the solution to the problem.
Carl, you look like you agree. You want to say anything?
No, that's the solution right there. Like I say, why does Land Bank and Housing Authority have property? Like it was mind-boggling when I found out that Land Bank has over 700 properties on the west side of District 5. It's like, why would you? So the city's not proactively trying to find individuals like these on this panel that know what to do. So again, J.C. Nichols said in a 100-year plan, we are in year 75 of his 100-year plan. By 2045, these properties will be gone if we don't do what Drake Taylor said. Like, so it's coming. So we have an opportunity to get ahead of that. You know, that's why I created my Region Wins. It's like, ooh, so I can obtain these properties and just hold on to them. They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well I need a lot of canvases. Let's get them.
Star, you seem like you were clapping there for a second. You want to add on there?
Well, you can't build if you don't have anything to build on, and it's kind of unfortunate that the property is being held and not being allowed for us, you know, not making it easy for us to acquire the property so we can do what we want to do with the property, or if we do have ideas, you know, we can pull it together. But once you go through so many steps to get the land, basically you want to build on the land, you know, and it just pushes you back a little bit just to know that it's hard to even get the land in the first place.
Cash, you looked like you wanted to weigh in there.
My dad is here listening too, so it's the same thing about how hard they've made it even more difficult now. Land bank is to get land. They want to know immediately what you're about to do with it, how much money you have in the bank. Oh, we're not interested in people putting any more gardens on land. I don't see what that has to do with anything. I should be able to do what I want to do on my land. Oh, if you're thinking about building on it, first you want to see your permits. First you want to see insurance. So land bank has made it more difficult for people to get land. But I don't think the city is stressing these people. I think they just started stressing people who own land, but they're not even living in the city and their land is overrun or trash is being dumped on it. But when there's homeowners in Kansas City that want to invest in the city, in the property, they're not there to help them.
I'm going to ask a question to everybody on the panel real quick. Like off the top, we were just Cash was just talking about like there's a lot of stuff that'll go into, you know, getting the permission to do something. But off the top of your heads, do you have any like stories that like maybe just one story that you think would illustrate how even low budget projects that take place on vacant lots and don't require a whole lot of built-in construction, but just basic stuff can make an impact on everyday people's lives, like make them healthier or better? I was reading my thing. I don't know if anybody would have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to grow food, just do guerrilla gardening. Just go on it. You know, if the city gonna shut you down, they got better things to do than shut your garden down. As long as you keep your garden up and going, they won't have anything to say. They don't know who owns that land until somebody come out and purchase it. That lot might have been sitting there for 10, 20 years without anybody doing anything on it. Just go ahead and start growing on it, and then you'll have some kind of stake to claim to it when it's time for you to purchase the land and say, I've been keep records of what you're doing, and you can advocate on your behalf when it's time to purchase the land and say, I've been cutting the grass, X, Y, and Z. And so maybe you can lobby and use that to your advantage when it's time for you to purchase the land. But just throw some seeds out there, till it up, and grow it, and uh, see where it goes from there.
Carl, you look like you wanted to weigh in there.
Yeah, and if I may, and I appreciate Dre and Star, hey, y'all get it in, and I'm like, as the artist, I'm like, that's a lot of labor. That's a lot of labor. And so in my head, it's like, just keep the canvas clean, like cutting the grass and then saying, hey, XYZ, I'm hosting a little function at this environment. And I'm taking ownership of this environment. Like I've had a tarot card reading at Boone Area 1. Like we've had yoga at Boone Area 1. So it's like, I bring the grill. I can't prepare food for you. You can bring the meat and we can throw it on the grill. And then people start to see how to really interact. Like, because we know how to interact. So if we go out in public and showcase how to interact, like you'll be amazed how many people will drive by and just, you can see them intake what's going on. And I'm doing nothing but sweeping the sidewalk. And so that's a canvas. That land, it's a canvas. So if you feel brave enough to grow, because I know for me, I'm not, if it ain't for joy, I'm not brave to grow anything. I'm like, no, I'm a kid, but being able to cut the grass and pick up that trash and then just exist in it, it's like, man, there was kids throwing a football on the property once. And I was like, can we throw it? I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So it's just, you taking pride in something that has been blighted for, you said 20 years. This property has been blighted for 40. Mm-hmm. Like the property used to be a storefront, a law firm, a dry cleaner, and a gadget repair place. They tore it down and then they killed the water lines. So it's just like, yeah, it's like what Dre said, just exist in this bad baby. If you want it, My Region Winds will come help you get that bad baby. Especially if you're on the west side of District 5. If there's a land bank property or a housing authority property, period. Land bank is, My Region Winds is, hey, you see it as a campus, we down to help you get that, let alone see your vision through. So Dre or Star, anybody, if y'all need me, call My Region Winds, we help.
I'm bringing Dina's comment up here. She says you got to sacrifice something to volunteer. That's true. I was wondering if Dre could talk about or Star, either one, if you guys could talk about the experience of inspiring people to come out and help. Who wants to take this one?
I can speak on that. Well, I think at first everybody's just kind of watching to see what it is you're doing, and when they don't really see any progress, they don't want to get involved. But once you keep at it and you keep going and you keep building and you keep pushing, they start to see things happen. So whether it be just a raised bed going up, or you just coming back year after year, and putting something in the ground and passing out a few vegetables, to help out in the community. It may take a while, but the neighbors eventually come out, or you eventually, go and introduce yourself to the neighbors, and you start to build those relationships, and people know that it's possible. They just see that it's possible. They start coming out. So that's my take on the volunteers. There's a couple people that, hadn't been out to our property, and after they start seeing the poles going up for the fence, here they come. They brought their watering can and they're walking down the street and they came down to tell me that they're part of the garden club, without even knowing that they were a part. They just automatically implanted themselves inside the club with us. So I think once everybody sees what you're doing and they get inspired themselves, they start coming out and their mind starts working. That mental brain starts going. They get interested. And I think that's what it takes for us to get more people to come out and see what we're doing and join in.
Dre, do you have anything to add to that? Because I know you've had a massive volunteer force come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a domino effect when they see you out there working and doing things, and people want to get involved in something that sees progressive. And so you have to be careful sometimes and have work for volunteers to do. Organize the volunteers, organize volunteer days, because sometimes that's more work than actually the work that's being put in. And so, you live and you learn. But, a lot of people just interested and growing food and want to know how and be around, somebody who's actually doing it. So, you got to be the change you want to see. And so a lot of people was willing to, step up and help out, especially in times that we in now to start learning how to grow their own food and take care of their family. So, volunteers are going to come, be intentional, post things on social media. People ask questions, answer the questions. And it usually starts from there. It's like a wildfire. Start a twig, and next thing you know, you got people coming from all over, trying to help and volunteer. So being intentional with social media, about what you're doing, and educating people in the same time, and pretty much, like I said, it's a domino effect from there.
So I also want to one last little viewer comment that came up that I want to show, and everybody, if you got kids in the room, you just tell them this says grow something else. But give me a second. I love Dina. She is so real. Does anybody want to comment on like how how you have helped your neighborhood figure out that it's okay to come grow something even if you don't know how? You want to give some thought to that one on Cash? Now that you're back.
Yes, I think Ivanhoe has done a great example of that, and even East Marlboro Neighborhood Association is give things away, and then it's encouragement. And Ivanhoe, their presentation is a big thing. I own my own business, and I know that's where you calling for volunteers and presentation and showing consistency is a big thing. So Ivanhoe's presentation, they clean their vegetables and they come out beautiful and they're very colorful. And also, sorry, we're on a highway. Also, feeding our volunteers more than the hot dogs and chips. I think a lot of people are tired of that. And grilling those vegetables is a good way to get volunteers out. And also, I think it was Charles who touched on it. Not only compensating your volunteers, whether it's gift cards or certificates. I got certificates in many different things. I got a blood safety certificate. I got the CPR certificate. Just from going out. So I mean, if they can find some way to certify them in urban farming or whatever after they come out, 3 weekends of volunteering, that's a way to get people out. And then you always touch on for seniors in high school, they need to get their volunteer credits. That's how you get people out to make sure they have not only benefit their community, but there's some type of benefit for them also.
Nice. All right. Does anybody else want to add anything before we wrap up? This has been an amazing hour. I appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, coming out. All right, and I'm appreciating the. Yeah, who's up? Did somebody say something? I'm all eager. I'm like, hey, I'm here. Sorry, man. As we close out the hour, I'd like to thank our four panelists for bringing such valuable insight to an initiative that needs to be done right to have lasting effects on the people who are living in our East Kansas City neighborhoods. To the viewers, if you are interested in taking action with a vacant lot within your neighborhood, please reach out to Natasha Karsk at Heartland Conservation Alliance. Her information will be included in the comment section very shortly, and in the description very shortly. And then I wanted to also say, in this time where safe action needs to be taken to make the world into a better place, you may feel led. As a viewer, you may feel led to volunteer with one of the organizations who are featured on today's broadcast. So please reach out to any one of them using the contact information that I'm also going to include in the comment section and in the description. Thank you so much for attending this conversation. Everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and keep on caring, Casey. Carl, did you want to add in your awesome phrase that you always say, and I love it?
What are you talking about? Please think responsibly? My reason is I have no idea. You all continue to be great, though. I think that's
it. That's the one.
You all continue to be great. I had to think about it. It's like, yeah, you all continue to be great. I think you all on the panel are doing some great things. And so it's just like, yeah, if we can continue to be seen on platforms like this and getting that acknowledgement, we'll continue to go ahead and champion not only the youth, but have those that are older than us being like, oh, wow, they really doing some things. So y'all keep it up. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Everybody have a delightful night. Thank you so much again. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your insight and your power. Thank you.
Thanks,
Marie.
Joy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Star.
Okay, that was fun. You did. That was cool, Joy. Bye.
Bye.